under the giant oak tree, a perfect springtime breeze. His face was just inches away from mine. Deep inside, I knew this was the moment. And just as he leaned in, wait, but I have a child. You what? Holy frogs! Did I just say I had a child? Before he could react, I did the only thing my mind could process. I ran, never once daring to look back. Because if there's one thing that really scares me, it's committing to a relationship. Want to know why? Stay with me as I take you through my story. But before that, please click like and subscribe. I'm Hazel. Yeah, with hazel brown hair, obviously. Can you believe I was just 5 years old when I went to my first nightclub? Yep, my dad was one of a kind.
Darling, are you dressed up for date night?
And he never changed. Ever.
Ready for date night, darling?
Dad, come on, this is your 129th date. And I'm old enough to stay home alone now, so please, just go.
Fine. But listen, no matter who I meet tonight, you're still my #1 girl, alright?
Dad wasn't lying. He dated N number of women, N number of times. But there's only one he's truly committed to. Me. But that made me feel guilty sometimes. Dad, why don't you try to get serious with someone? I know Mom left the moment I was born, but that doesn't mean you have to be single and sad with me your whole life.
Single and sad? Darling, relationships are sad. They just bring pain and tears. But now you're looking at the happiest man in the world. Woohoo!
And that stuck with me. I decided I was going to be happy doing whatever I wanted, however I wished. All was cool until one of Dad's dates, Laura, started messing things up.
Honey, I can't believe I never asked you this before, but would you like to go to school? You know, the real one with principals and desks.
No? Why, Dad? You don't want me at home anymore? Or is it because someone else doesn't want me here?
Darling, don't blame Laura. She just means well.
Then, just 10 days later, I found myself standing in the middle of a boring school, surrounded by a bunch of kids with different hairstyles and personalities. Out of nowhere, I felt a tap on my shoulder. A pretty girl standing alone in the middle of this school? You must be new here. Come, I'll show you around. I'm Minnie, by the way. Minnie and I spent the day hanging around the school. I knew she was going to be my first real friend, but I felt there was more to Minnie than what I saw. We laughed together, studied together, but she never told me about her family. Never. Not even where she lives. Are you close with your family? You never really mention them. It's complicated. Don't stress your beautiful brain with that. Oh, did you smile at the baseball captain, Mike? Now he's telling everyone that the new billionaire girl in school is his girlfriend. Really? That sounds interesting, but I'm not that interested in dating, though. The first few days were a breeze. I quickly became the most popular girl in school and was getting tons of proposals every new day. But then one day, Mike hit me with the biggest twist ever.
Hazel, at first I thought you were just passing by my life. But now I realize that you are my life. Would you be my partner for the annual winter dance next week?
Huh? You mean dancing? Sure, I love dancing. The moment I said it, the entire cafeteria erupted. Cheers, whispers, and gossip flying everywhere. Wait, this wasn't like I accepted his love proposal. Or was it? Hazel, you did read the flyer I sent you about the annual winter dance rituals, right? No? Why? What rituals? It turned out that every pair in the dance that night was meant to be together until the end of school. Sounds romantic, right? Not for me. That night, I researched 100 polite ways to say no to someone, but nothing helped when I saw Mike face to face the next day.
So, when do we start rehearsing for the dance? I'm so excited, you know. When?
How about never? Well, that was only the first of my many breakups. As days went by, some even started calling me a heartbreaker. But that was fine. I just didn't want to complicate my otherwise fine life. But as time went by, one thing or the other tried to warn me that I was leading towards a miserable life. But I was not going to take it. My 16th birthday was going to be so lit. I had invited everyone at school and thought my house was not going to be enough to hold the crowd. But boy was I wrong. I walked down all dolled up, only to see Dad and Laura standing with a 10-tiered cake. None of the people I had expected turned up. Not even Minnie.
Hazel, honey, listen, this day is gonna be amazing, I promise.
I saw red and ran back to my room and slammed the door shut. Hey Hazel, wish you a happy birthday. I'm sorry I can't make it to your party. This is the first time I'm seeing my boyfriend's parents, so I couldn't say no. Hope you understand. Wow, now everybody has some important stuff in life other than attending my party?
Are you okay, Hazel?
I am okay, all right? But she wouldn't take it. She had made up her mind that I was a lonely, depressed kid who needed to be taken care of. She handed me a wrapped box. I tore it open, expecting something remotely fun, but instead, a flute. Flute? I don't play the flute, though.
Playing flute was one of the things that can make me feel at ease. You should give it a try.
Laura sounded honest and emotional. Kinda made me see her differently. Before I could react, suddenly loud crackers burst from outside the window. Then I saw my name written in the sky. Oh my God! Is it? Yes, your dad. He loves you so much. We all do. Later that night, I was practicing my first broken tune when I heard a reply from outside, and it sounded so well trained. Who was playing? I opened the window, put on my slippers, and sneaked out. The deeper I went into the nearby woods, the louder the mysterious tune became. I must be getting close. But right after a few steps, my slippers slipped and I fell into a muddy puddle. So much for peace and flute. I struggled to get back on my feet when a hand reached out to me from the dark. Ah! Ghost!
Ah! You're a ghost?
No, what? I meant you. When I finally saw him clearly, I realized he was a boy my age, standing under the giant oak tree. Turned out he was Sven, a boy from the local tribe who lived on the other side of the wood. And apparently he was the one who played the flute. We did some talking, and I told him about my so-called birthday party. For the first time, someone actually paid attention.
Birthday, you say? Just wait here.
He left me and ran somewhere deep into the woods. Then suddenly, I heard loud twigs snap and footsteps approaching me. I was pit scared and closed my eyes tight. When I opened them, a bunch of little kids dressed like tribals stood around me with fruits and flowers.
Now this is how you celebrate a birthday.
He started playing his flute. Some played drums, and for what seemed like hours, we were all laughing and dancing like it was the best party ever. It was nearly dawn when Sven walked me back home. Thank you. Goodbye then?
Goodbye. And if you ever want to spend some time here, walk up to this mark and play your broken tune.
Rude, but fine. I'll come by.
Also, hey.
His crystal green eyes gazed into mine. My heart skipped a beat. Phew! What was it that I just felt? I no longer wished to explore that feeling, so I sprinted home. But I surely knew I was going back to his place very soon. The next day at school, I wasn't even that mad at Minnie when she apologized for missing my birthday bash. It's alright. Can't say it was a bad day after all. Oh my! Look at your face! Are you blushing? Gosh, no! You know me. Nothing serious. I did meet a nice boy, but I'm keeping it low-key for now. Nothing's official. You have to tell me everything later. Promise? I promise. A week passed, and one evening as I reached home, a big shock awaited.
We're getting married!
What in the world? My dad, the man who used to say commitment is hell, was gonna marry someone?
Hazel, look. You probably think I'm some witch who has come to separate you from your dad, but I'm not one. I really care for you. I love you and your dad. But if you don't want this, we won't go through with it, I swear.
Laura, you're nothing like the past women my dad dated. Whatever you did for Dad or me, it came from your heart. I trust you. Happy for you, old man. But remember, I'll always be your number one girl. You better keep it to your heart.
Of course, darling. Of course.
Although I said yes, my heart was troubled, and I needed to vent. I went to call Minnie, but then I spotted my flute on the table. You know how a girl's heart works. I took my flute and went out to the woods. At first, there was nothing, just the rustling trees and my own echoing notes. But then I heard it, his perfect flute tune. As the song got louder and closer, my heart started beating faster.
Boo! Bet you didn't see this coming.
Oh, thank you. This is so nice. Well, today is full of surprises. I told him about my dad's wedding plan, and he was super excited. He even started sketching out the decor ideas.
That tree right there has some amazing pink flowers, perfect for a dreamy wedding.
Then he took me to a beautiful large tree that stood in the middle of the woods. He whistled and suddenly 100 birds flew out of that tree, shedding tons of pretty pink flowers on us. Dreamy, I know! I twirled around like a happy kid, but I suddenly slipped. Luckily, Sven caught me just in time. In his arms, I felt my feet slipping and my mind racing. Well, it's official then. I'll tell my dad you'll do the wedding decor.
Sure, and hey, never think you're alone. I'm here. I'm so glad you came today.
That was sweet. If I stood there a minute longer, I'd hug him, so I smiled and walked away. Days passed. Sven and I had become super cool friends by then. We even built our own little wooden shed by our favorite tree. Maybe, just maybe, I was starting to fall for this guy. Dad's wedding day arrived. Everyone appreciated the decor Sven was doing in our garden. No one's gonna believe this is a small urban garden. Looks straight out of the woods. Told ya, that's the magic of the guy you're about to meet. Sven! Sven?
Minnie?
Somebody tell me what's going on.
She's my twin sister.
Holy crabs! I was falling for my best friend's brother? I wished I could disappear into the air right then, but it was time for the wedding. Minnie and I stood quiet, a million questions burning inside. Was Minnie from a tribal background? Was that why she refused to speak about her whereabouts all along? I was in a Rich Go cover, okay? I wanted to blend in. You don't have to explain, Minnie. We're all past those silly misunderstandings. Maybe, but this has to stop.
What do you mean? Your rich friend's off limits to me now?
Not that, Sven. You don't know about her. No offense, Hazel, but I can't just stand by and watch you break my own brother's heart like you do with every other guy.
Minnie, she's nothing like you know of her.
You don't know what she'll do to you, Sven. Enough! Can't you take your sibling fight elsewhere? I need to leave. What a pretty mess I've fallen into. And worse, Sven was growing on me and I had just started feeling something that might lead to a true relationship. Now I must give that up for Minnie? Tears rolled down my eyes as I quickly slid through the dancing crowd straight into my room. Soon after, there was a knock. Not now, Dad!
It's me, honey. Sorry, I saw you running and I had to break in.
I don't know what got into me, but I just hugged her and cried my heart out. She felt like a mother I wish I had. After hearing everything, she had a perfect idea.
You think that'll work? Sometimes, Hazel, the only way to know who's real is to test them.
Her words echoed in my head, sounding so simple, so brave. But as I sat on my bed, phone in my hand and Minnie not answering, a knot of dread tightened in my chest. If she wouldn't pick up, maybe Sven would. Sven, I've made my decision. I need to go. I can't be the reason you and Minnie drift apart.
You can't leave. What about everything we built here? I'm sorry if this wasn't obvious before, but I really like you, Hazel. Please, I'll talk to Minnie.
I'm sorry, Sven, but it has to be this way. Minnie wasn't entirely wrong. I had broken many hearts in the past, so maybe this is what I deserve. Getting my heart broken. Just so you know, I liked you too. That's why I must go. He held my face, and we got so close to having a moment when it started raining. I got to my senses and backed away. I ran out of the woods, Sven following me.
Hazel, please don't hurt yourself like this.
I crossed the road to my house when suddenly a car screeched right behind me. Sven was in the middle of the road, staring blankly. I rushed to push him away. He fell on the other side as the car sped away. Well, I got some bruises in the process, but the best thing was I saved Sven. Sven and Minnie came to visit me, but this time Minnie didn't look guarded. She didn't look like someone trying to protect her brother from me. She looked like my best friend.
Well, that's a relief. Though I did bring these in case you still needed some convincing.
I think I'm already convinced. You two are annoyingly cute. I'm sorry I was such a jerk. Sven told me everything just now. You shouldn't leave. I can see that you have true feelings for him. It's all right, Minnie. I won't let you down. We all laughed, and for the first time in a long while, I truly believed in a love that was real. Even if messy, it was honest and quietly beautiful.
You might think it's impossible to be two people at once. Yeah. I'm Liana, but I'm also Kai. Confused? Then I suggest you check out part 1 of my story. In short, my mom fooled everyone, including me, into thinking I'm a boy when actually I'm a girl, so my traditional-minded family wouldn't be lured into giving away my inheritance. Back in the restaurant, and I'd just shown my mom how I wanted to go back to Philly and tell my family the truth. No, she shook her head. You can't. It's not the right time. But Mom, why? I don't want to lie anymore. Stay here, and I'll tell your father you're doing a master's degree. Again with the lies. I'm sick of them. I just want to be me. I let out a frustrated sigh. I know you do, but I don't want you losing out on your future. I gave her a quizzing look. Come on, Mom, it wouldn't be that bad. Honey, Diamond is back, and she's adamant to worm her way into the company. Oh no. This changed things. You see, Diamond's my sassy, ambitious half-sister. My father had her with his mistress. Now Diamond was back from her studies in Australia and eager to claim what she believed was hers. Ugh. Mom continued. She's always snooping around the house, and her attitude is awful. It's only a matter of time before she refuses to leave. That's why I told you this was not an appropriate time to come out with the truth. Diamond would take advantage of it and turn everything into a bigger mess. Well, that was that. I had no choice but to stay in Canada. Ugh. On the plus side, at least I could be Liana here. Then one night, I just returned home from a party in my bodycon dress and heavy makeup when my phone buzzed. It was a video call from Mom. Hi, Mom. I popped myself down on my bed. Oh, that diamond is a piece of work. She used my Ralph Lauren trinket dish as an ashtray. Can you believe that? Oh, that's awful. Have you spoken to Dad about it? Right at that moment, I saw my father appear behind Mom, and he asked her if she was talking to Kai. Startled, I immediately took off my wig, wiped my lips onto the back of my hand, pulled off my eyelashes, and wrapped a blanket around me so he couldn't see my dress. I reappeared on screen with a forced smile and lowered my voice to say, Hi, Dad. He coldly asked, Why is your face so dirty? Nothing. Your mother and I are to attend an important corporate event this weekend, and I want you to come with us. It will be a good experience for you. Be home by Saturday. When my father demands something, well, then there's absolutely 0 point in questioning him about it, so it looks like Kai was going back to Philadelphia. That weekend, I packed my bags and transformed myself back into Kai. Jeez, I'd forgotten how much it sucked having to wear these unflattering clothes. Mom was there to pick me up at the airport. She rushed over to me and gushed, Look at you. My daughter is so handsome. I have to admit that I was really nervous on the way home. By the time the grand house came into view, I felt like I was going to barf. I hadn't been Kai properly in years. What if I messed up, and then Dad disowned both me and Mom? Mom must have sensed how I was feeling, as she took my hand and led me inside. My father was sitting on the edge of the couch with a black coffee and a ton of paperwork in front of him. Hi, Dad. Mom elbowed me, so I coughed to clear my throat, then in a male voice said, Hi, Dad. Your son is back. Yes. Hello, Dad replied, his attention still on his paperwork. Phew. It seemed that he hadn't noticed my voice mishap. After that, I went up to my room, freshened up and changed into my suit. I sprayed myself with cologne, as smelling like a guy might make me act more like one, right? Later on, my father drove us to the event. He wouldn't stop going on about people he wanted to impress and contracts he was after. So without thinking, I grabbed my mom's purse and pulled out her compact mirror and lipstick. I pouted my lips and was about to put it on when I saw my dad glaring at me in the rearview mirror. It's just lip balm. The flight really dried them out. I licked my lips as I quickly dropped the items back into Mom's purse. Mom peered back at me with a be careful look. The event was hard work. Having to be Kai in front of all these bigwigs took it out of me. So by the time we arrived home, I was ready to sleep for a week. Daddy, I'm so glad you're back. How was your event? A girl suddenly rushed out of nowhere and wrapped her arms around my father. Oh, hi, Mrs. Wilson. And you must be my half-brother, Kai. Hi, she smirked. This was Diamond, my unruly half-sister. Mom and I both muttered back hellos, but Dad seemed oblivious to the tension between us all. It was rather successful. I believe the Woodward contract will be mine very shortly. Well, seeing as you're here, you must stay for dinner. After dinner, Mom and I went to the kitchen to bring out the desserts, leaving Dad and Diamond alone. But as we headed back to the dining room, we heard Diamond say, Please let me be your assistant. I want to learn more about the family company. Besides, I'm far more business-minded than Kai, so I don't see why I can't be the director one day. Hearing this, Mom cleared her voice. Diamond then startled and turned around to see Mom holding up a plate with a smile. Anyone for fruit? The next day, Mom asked me to go on a walk with her around the garden. Through gritted teeth, she said, You heard what that devil Diamond said to your father. She's after your position in the company. We can't let her get away with this. Oh no. What did my mother have planned now? I didn't want to play games, I just wanted to be Liana. She continued, You'll have to come back home at once and work in the company. As Kai, of course. No way, I yelled. I've followed your selfish rules for 20 years. This is my time now. I'm not doing this. I started to walk away, but Mom pulled on my arm. Darling, I know. She let out a thoughtful sigh. But if you tell the truth now, then your father might disown us, which will allow Diamond to wriggle her way to what is rightfully yours. We can't let this happen. It's unacceptable. I shook free of Mom's grip and stormed off. This time she didn't try to stop me. I needed time to think this all through. I didn't want to be Kai anymore, but I also didn't want us to lose everything. I really hate doing this, but I guess it's not totally unreasonable of Mom having to pull out these desperate measures. I found my mother in the conservatory, staring thoughtfully out of the window. On seeing me, she smiled. Oh, Kai, Mom, I'm sorry. I've been childish. I know you only want the best for me. Mom took my hand and replied, No. I'm the one who's been asking too much of you. I've been thinking, and perhaps there's a way in which you can be both Kai and Liana. I gave her a questioning look, and she continued. It's bonkers, of course, but it might just work. She chuckled. Kai should get engaged to Liana. What? My mother wanted me to get engaged to myself? But then thinking about it, my mother was an expert at bringing her crazy ideas into fruition. Besides, what did I have to lose? Well, besides my entire family and inheritance. So the next day, while I was having dinner with my parents and grandparents, I stood up and announced, I have something to tell you all. I have a fiancée, Liana. She's smart, beautiful, well-educated, and you're all going to love her. We plan to marry as soon as I finish my master's degree. Then I passed around my phone with a Liana picture on it. My grandparents seemed thrilled, and my grandpa said, Ah, yes, it's about time our beloved grandson found himself a wife. I held my breath as the picture reached my father, and he peered down at it with scrutinizing eyes. He looked up at me, and for a horrible moment I thought he'd figured out the truth. But then he said, Good. So, when will we meet this Liana? Soon. She's just finishing her courses. She's coming over next week. But I still had some paperwork going on at school, so Liana will visit you guys first, and I'll fly home later. That's how excited she is to meet you all. I can't wait, dear. She seems like a lovely young lady. My grandma looked genuinely happy. Then I continued, Yes, Nanny, she is. And in fact, I turned to Dad. Liana is looking for an internship. It would be nice if she could get a spot in our company, as she'll have to learn about our family's business sooner or later. Right, Dad? He seemed pleased as he replied, Very well. Just bring her over. So Mom's latest crazy plan seemed to be working. After my announcement, I stayed home for a few more days as Kai. Then I flew back to Canada, packed my things, and flew back as Liana. Phew, this was exhausting. Walking into the house with all eyes on me was terrifying, but everyone rushed over and greeted me. Even Diamond. Mom linked arms with me. Darling, our house has plenty of guest rooms. You gotta stay here, I insist. We all are family now, aren't we? Please, make yourself at home. Smiling, I replied, Thank you, Mrs. Wilson, that would be lovely. Suddenly Diamond interrupted. Oh, seeing as this house has that many spare rooms, why can't I have one? Mom looked flustered, then reluctantly replied, Sure, Diamond. I have never said that you couldn't. Just pick one. This was not part of the plan, but fine. I ain't scared of her. Mom then led me to my room and kept reminding me to be extra careful now that Diamond was around 24/7. On one occasion, I was reading by the window in our home library when Diamond waltzed in and yanked the book off me. Oh, I get it. You're only marrying that half-brother of mine for the first edition books, she winked. I took the book back off her, then politely replied, Yes, I'll marry whoever I need to if it means getting this 8th edition book published in 2017. Oh, the glamour. Hilarious. She just sneered and walked away to hide the humiliation. Unfortunately, even at work, I didn't get a break from Diamond. Instead, I was assigned a job under her management. Ugh. One time I returned from lunch to find the report I was working on had vanished from my desk. I pulled my desk apart looking for it, only for her to pass it to me at the end of the day. Then, with this devious grin on her face, she said, "You were meant to have this finished today, weren't you? It looks like you're in for a late one." Ugh! She was definitely more of an imitation than a diamond. And as he'd predicted, my father ended up getting the Woodward contract, and it was a huge deal. Some of the representatives from the company were coming in to discuss the project, so everyone seemed to be buzzing around like flies in preparation. Diamond ordered me to make coffee and take it to our guests. I was walking with the tray of drinks when I bumped straight into someone. Oh no, the coffee soaked his white shirt. As I muttered out a sorry, I realized something. I knew this man. He looked really familiar. It was Kevin, my old school friend. He'd changed so much, but it was definitely him. I'd recognize him anywhere. But he didn't seem to recognize me, which I guess wasn't surprising seeing as I was dressed as a girl. I wonder what he was doing here. Oh no, I'd just covered my childhood friend Kevin in coffee, but I'm currently Liana, so he didn't recognize me, as he only knew me as Kai. Confused? Then you should check out parts 1 and 2 first. I frantically apologized to Kevin while looking around for some napkins to soak the coffee up. "It's fine," he smiled. I smiled back at him. Yep, he was the same kind, sweet Kevin. Suddenly I heard Diamond's voice. "Liana, what have you done?" Then she appeared next to Kevin and gently touched his arm. "I apologize. She's new." "It's okay. It was my fault anyway. I wasn't looking where I was going." "That's just typical of you, always taking the blame." She gave him this starry-eyed look. "Oh, so you two already know each other?" I thought out loud. "Yes, Kevin and I went to college together in Oz. I introduced him to Father for this project, as I believe he'll be an asset to it. Now run along and make some fresh coffees." Diamond gave me a stare. As I went off to make coffees, again, I wondered about Diamond. Did she like Kevin? Oh, no. That manipulative girl doesn't deserve such a sweet guy like him. Later that day, we had a meeting where my dad introduced Kevin as the leader of the project. Kevin then thanked him and started talking about his visions for this project. And it was so obvious how all the girls in the room couldn't take their eyes off him, including Diamond. Ugh. The next day after work, I followed Kevin out to the parking lot and shouted his name. When he turned and saw me, he smiled, and I instantly felt warm inside. "I have something for you, as, an apology for ruining your last one." I passed him a new shirt. "I hope I guessed your size right." "Thanks, you really didn't have to do this." He looked flattered as he took it from me. "Yep, you have the size spot on. Impressive." His comment caused me to smile to myself. Living as a boy for years at least gave me a perk of understanding their sizes. I waved him goodbye and started to walk off, but he shouted, "Wait, is there any chance I could have your number?" You bet. I was blushing so hard by then. And after that, we started messaging each other, and every time my phone buzzed with his name, I found myself doing this gummy smile. Unfortunately, I couldn't stay in my love bubble with Kevin forever. Instead, I had to spend my days being bossed around by Diamond. Ugh. Once, she was ordering me to revise a report I'd already redone twice. Suddenly, Kevin walked over, picked up the report, and said, "Oh, this one. You've done a good job with it, Liana. No need to change anything." Diamond looked furious at being undermined, and I couldn't hide my smug look. Take that, little Miss Bossy. After she left, I thanked him for helping me out. "It's fine. Hey, don't take much notice of Diamond. She's just intent on impressing her father. If she causes you any more problems, just come find me, okay?" Oh, what a sweet guy he was. But one afternoon, I walked into the office kitchen to make myself a drink and saw Diamond and Kevin having a serious chat. On seeing me, Diamond said to him, "I'm sorry, Kevin. You needed to know the truth." Then she gave me a snooty look as she passed me. I wonder what that was about. I was going to ask him, but before I could, he just left without so much as a glance in my direction. Okay, that was weird, but maybe he was just busy, right? That evening, I messaged Kevin and asked him if he wanted to go for a jog in the park. He agreed, but when he showed up, he could barely meet my eye. "Kevin, what's wrong?" He was silent for a moment, then shouted, "Why? Why did you lie to me? Diamond told me how you're engaged to Kai. Why did you lead me on? I sputtered out, but he just tutted, then walked off. I stood there speechless and wondering how I was going to get out of this mess. If this wasn't bad enough, as I was on my way home, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Diamond. Leave the house and the company by tomorrow, else I'm telling Kai the truth. Of course, I just ghosted her dumb message, and true to her word, the next day, my Kai phone went off. It was Diamond telling me how Liana was cheating on me. It was crystal clear she wasn't going to drop this. Some days later, my father asked me to go to dinner with him, so he could get to know me better before I married his son. I thought this was sweet of him, so I agreed. Besides, this was a great opportunity to test the water, figuring out if he's ready for the truth yet. We had some small talk over the appetizer. Then suddenly, Dad put down his fork and asked me, "How is Kai? It's such a shame to admit, but we've grown distant over the years, and it was all my fault. I know I haven't always been the best father." He trailed off. "Kai's good," I replied. I guess it was now or never to say what I wanted to. Actually, he's really happy in Canada. And, well, he has these big dreams of becoming an architect. Oh, I didn't know that. He lowered his head. I just thought he'd want to inherit the company one day. His heart isn't in it. He's so afraid of telling you as he doesn't want to disappoint you. He was silent, and I worried he was going to yell at me, only he didn't. Instead, gave a thoughtful sigh, then replied, "Very well. I respect Kai's decision, and I will support him on whichever path he chooses." This was totally unexpected from him. I was so overwhelmed, I left my seat to hug him, and I told him I'd pass the words to Kai. Now I finally knew how much Dad loved Kai, which means he loved me too, right? I just needed to find a good time to tell him the truth. The next day, on my way home from work, I received a frantic phone call from Mom. Turns out, Diamond had told everyone in the family that I'd cheated on Kai. As I was trying to figure out what to do next, Dad messaged my Liana phone and demanded I come home at once. On the way home, I thought about what I was going to say to him. Geez, this was terrifying. If it went wrong, Mom and I could end up disowned. I knocked on his study, and in a serious tone, he said, "Come in." Then on seeing me, he continued, "Liana, Diamond seems adamant you are liaising with Kevin behind my son's back. Please explain yourself." I took a deep breath, then blurted out, "The thing is, I'm not cheating on Kai because, well, I am Kai." Then in Kai's voice, I continued, while slowly took off my wig. "I was never actually a boy. Instead, I'm a girl, but Mom didn't want me losing out to Diamond, so she made me pretend to be a boy." He was so shocked. He leaned back in his chair and almost tumbled backward. I explained to him why Mom and I did what we did. It was such a relief, finally having that weight off my shoulders. I knew Dad needed some time to digest this avalanche of information, so I put my wig back on and went to find Mom. She was pacing her bedroom in anxiety. "I've told you to be extra careful around Diamond. Now how are we possibly meant to carry out this plan?" "Don't worry, Mom. I had found a way to resolve this mess." I comforted her, but didn't let her know that I'd told Dad the truth yet, as that would just make her even more anxious. The next few days, Dad still acted normal, as if nothing had happened, and when I walked into the dining room for dinner, I saw Diamond's face drop. She clearly thought Dad would have chucked me out by now. She slammed her fist on the table and yelled at Dad, "Why is she still here?" Ignoring her, he asked Grandpa to pass him the gravy. This only angered Diamond further, and she pointed at me and screamed, "She cheated on Kai! Kick her out of this house!" I put down my cutlery, calmly stood up, and in a confident voice I said, "In fact, I am Kai." It was worth doing just for everyone's reaction. My mom turned white. Diamond was dumbfounded while my grandparents clung onto the table in shock. After I'd explained it all to them in more detail, Diamond was the first to respond. "So you and your mother lied to everyone? This is unacceptable. Get out of this house." Poor Mom looked so ashamed. She couldn't meet Dad's eye as she mumbled out, "Don't blame Liana. She was just a child. It's my fault." Then she pulled my arm and whispered to me that we should leave. Diamond sneered, "Those liars. You deserve that.
Will you please be quiet? Else I advise you to just leave.
Dad gave Diamond a stern look. This shocked her, and she sat back down in silence.
I've made a lot of mistakes over the years, and because of them I have many regrets. I was selfish and unkind.
He looked at Mom.
It pains me to know that you felt as though I left you with no choice but to lie to me. I love you, but I know how I treated you was cruel. I was so desperate for a child that I sought comfort in someone else. I know I wasn't there for you and Kai, Liana, when you needed me. Now, if you'll let me, I want to make amends.
Diamond jumped up to her feet so fast that the whole table wobbled. She screamed out, "This is nonsense!" and stormed off. So, that sure was eventful. But finally, everyone knew the truth, which meant Mom and I didn't have to lie anymore. And best of all, I never had to pretend to be Kai ever again. The following week, I was roaming around the house when I saw Diamond in her room, packing. I stepped in, and she said, "I'll be out of your sight in a blink. Don't worry. I'm leaving for Miami." I knelt next to her. "I don't want you to go. After all, we're sisters." She gave me this wide-eyed look. But I was horrible to you. You must have been through so much being forced to live as a boy." "Yeah, it was hard at times, but it's okay. I can be me now." I smiled. "I know I was mean. I'm sorry. I guess I've always felt like an outsider. I know my mom wants me to claim what's rightfully mine, and I felt so pressured because I'm no match for Kai." "Don't worry about it. We've all done things we regret. Besides, Kai's gone, so you can just be you. You're a great businesswoman, although you might need to tone down a notch on the bossiness." I chuckled. "Come on, sis. Let's get you unpacked." When we'd finished, I hugged her and said, "Oh, as for Kevin, I think we should fairly compete for his heart." She blushed. "Oh, no, it's fine. I used to like him, but he just sees me as a friend. Besides, everyone in the company knows it's you he likes." I felt good that we'd sorted things out. Now I just need to fix things with Kevin, and I had the perfect idea. I messaged him telling me to meet me by the woods close to his old school. Then I went and waited by the tree we once built a den in. He walked over to me, a confused look on his face.
"Liana, how did you know about this spot?"
He sat down next to me and I said, "I used to come here with my best friend when I was a kid. He was such a sweet boy. He never judged me or questioned me. It always pained me that I didn't get to say goodbye to him." I could see Kevin's mind ticking away. That's when I took off my wig, wiped away my makeup, and passed him half of a candy bar and said, "It's been a long time coming, but I owe you this." He stared at me, open mouth.
So, you're Kai and Liana?"
I said, "Yeah, it's me. I'm both."
"That's why I always felt familiar towards you. This is unbelievable,"
he continued.
"Wow."
He stared at me through teary eyes.
"Just wow. I mean, this is crazy. I was so upset when you left, and now here you are."
When he got over the initial shock, I told him about my life and why I pretended to be a boy. Afterward, he hugged me tightly and said,
"I'm not losing you again, Liana. I love you."